You're going to start on your assignment very soon, and what you're going to do is you're going to build an application which meets the brief which is described here. Now, the scenario is that you're developing a healthy eating application which allows people to work out how many calories they're consuming in each meal that they eat. And then they choose a type of food that they're going to eat, the item of that type that they're going to have in their meal, the portion size is going to be told to them, and then they have to know how many portions they have or eaten of that particular food in order to work out the total. Now, what they're going to have to do is going to have to be logging in so that only one person can accommodate the data, or can use the data, sorry. And that's the application kind of in summary. So let's look at it this way. What you're going to do is you're going to be able to log in. Then you're going to be able to record these items that you eat. And then you're going to be able to show a total for the meal in terms of the calories that you've eaten in that meal. Now, I obviously can't show you exactly how to do that line by line, code by code, because that would be cheating. So what we need to do is we need to give you a practice app which works with a similar sort of scenario in order for you to be able to develop it and then transfer the skills into this scenario. So let's look at what this data is. This data is a table of food values. It has 4 columns. And what I think is best is that you need to draw this information from a database. And because we haven't got the skills to use a SQL Server or even an Access database, we're going to use the one that we've used before, which is a text file. And the text file as a database is a perfectly valid way of doing something in prototype. This is the prototype version you are developing, not a fully functional, ready for deployment type application. So this is a very realistic scenario and represents what may well happen in a real development process. So I think you need 2 text files. I think you need one for types and you need one for food items. And in fact, we've got those, I've developed them for you. And what we will do is we will deploy those to you, because this is not part of your skills that are being examined. You shouldn't be examined on something that is just a copy and paste thing from a document into a text file. So I'll give you these text files so that you can use accurate and completely correct data. You'll notice that food types is just 1 column and food data is 4 columns: food type, food name, portion size and calories. So you'll get this data in advance of the development starting. So that's what we're going to do. Now, what I'll show you next is how I propose to teach you and what I think this end application should look like. What you're going to develop as a practice application is going to be a thing called Delivery Calculator. And what the Delivery Calculator is going to do is it's going to use the same sort of strategy as we've got before, where you've got item types 1 column and item data 4 columns. And you're going to manipulate this data from the text files which store it and use it in your application so that it can do 3 things. You're going to have a login database where users are recorded, and you'll convert this into your own format so that you can prove that good users are logged in and that bad users are not allowed into the application. You'll allow yourself to log in, then you'll be able to choose you'll be able to choose item types and work out what the total delivery cost for those items will be. So how are you going to do this? You're going to do this using a Windows form application. This is a Windows form and this is the login form that you're going to build. And you're going to use object-oriented programming techniques. What does that mean? That means that you're going to be working with classes. And I'm going to tell you what classes are, so please don't worry about that at the minute. But I just want you to get an idea of the direction of travel, because I think it's so much easier to travel in the correct direction if you know roughly where you're heading. I don't expect you to understand this at this stage, but I want you to be able to see that it is feasible, that what you're asked to do is possible, and that you can create a good application. Before we start, I want to make sure that you understand one thing. I'm developing this for you as a set of teaching tools, and I've chosen to be as bland as I can in terms of the design. I expect every one of you to personalize the design, but keep it professional. This is supposed to be an application for a company, So you're going to develop something that would look professional, but I want you to individualize it so that as much as possible, we can demonstrate that this is your work and nobody else's. Now we've got some things that we can do inside the code, but in the interface itself, that should be developed too, so that it uses something that's personalized to you. So let's run this application so that it works, so you can see how it works. Start the application. Now, these would be removed at production. This is the credentials to log in. It's checking the database. It opens up a form that says I can choose things that I want to have delivered. I'm going to have 3 of those. I'm going to choose a stationery. I'm going to have A4 folders. Oh yes, I want lots of those. So I'll have 5 of those. And I want a toy. What do I want? I want a tennis ball. So I'm going to have 6 of those. Because I play a lot of tennis, don't I? Right. So this is showing all of the things that I've selected from the list of items that I can choose to have delivered. It's showing the delivery charges in pennies, because that's what was in the database file. That'll be explained to you in more detail. And then when I press this, it shows the total cost of delivery for those 3 items that I have selected. Now your assignment demands that you have a range. That's 3 or more items, and that you prove that you can make this work for 3 or more items. And that's why I've shown you this. So that's the practice application, and you'll build that so that it can allow you to build the assignment application. Now I've built the assignment application, and you'll see in a moment how similar it is to this practice application to give you every possibility of using the strategies that will get you the highest possible grades. So here's the assignment application that I've built, and I've called it Model App 030, which is the course code. You'd probably call it Diet Calculator or something like that, but it's exactly the same structure that we've got. We've got forms, we've got classes, and these forms use these classes. So let's run this application up and you'll see the similarity between the two. So I log in and look. I've got types of food. So if I'm eating a meal and I have fish and I choose which fish I'm going to have, I've only got one. And imagine I ate 175 grams of fish, 1.75 portions. And that's going to tell me that I've consumed calories of 315 calories. Now imagine that I had some vegetables with this. So I had carrots. Oh yes, I like carrots. So I'm going to have 100-gram portion of carrots. And imagine that I had more vegetables. I had potatoes. Now, because I'm being such a good boy, I'm only going to have half a portion of potatoes, 50 grams of potatoes. I don't even know whether 50 grams of potatoes really exists. So half a portion of potatoes. So I've got that. And then for my, what would I have? I would have maybe perhaps a bread roll or something with it. So bakery, where's bakery? That is bakery. So I'm going to have, no, I'm going to have a chocolate digestive with it. So I'm going to have 3 of those. And what I've got now is I've got 3 or more. I've actually got 4 items. And when I do this, it shows me the total calories consumed and then puts them onto a form. Now you're going to replicate this application by learning how to do it with the delivery calculator and then transferring those skills into this. Very, very straightforward for you to do that. And I'll do a mapping diagram between one and the other. And that's it. So that's your job. Now there are going to be several videos. I can't remember how many I've got in total, but I think it's of the order of 12 or 14 videos. So you're going to learn how to do this through 12 or 14 videos. I can't remember exactly how many it is.